Well, hello and welcome to our Sea to City webinar on making the sustainable move ashore. Today, we will be discussing how professional development can boost seafarers' skills and provide qualifications that can help with a move to shore-based working. My name is Helen Kelly and I'm Director of Communications, Campaigns and Digital at Nautilus International. And today we'll be hearing from a serving seafarer who has successfully balanced the pressures of further education with working at sea. And we will hear from the educational professionals who assisted, and not just with formal training, but also with support and guidance as well. This webinar is part of the Sea to City mentoring scheme, which is open to all full members of Nautilus International. It's a joint program with Maritime London, where we place seafarers with shore-based professionals who provide advice and assistance. If you are a member of Nautilus International and you're interested in this scheme, please check out our website at www.nautilusint.org. Or follow the link, which we were going to put in the chat function very, very shortly. And of course, if you're not a member, please do feel free to join the union via our website as well. So, one final thing before I introduce our speakers, we will of course have plenty of time for our audience to put questions to the panelists. You'll see that there is a Q&A tab on the top right of your screen, so please feel free to put your questions in there at any stage and I'll try and get as many of those to our speakers as possible. So without further ado, let me introduce our fantastic speakers today. Ross Cleland is a third officer at Carnival UK. He's a serving member of the Nautilus Council and a graduate of MLA College. So hello, Ross.
Hi, Helen. Hi, everybody. Nice to see so many here today.
Awesome. Thanks, Ross. Professor Basak Akdemir is Chief Executive of MLA College. She's Executive Director of Seafold City of London and a Fellow of the United Nations Institute for Training and Research. Hi, Basak.
Hello, Helen. My apologies for my beautiful voice today.
I know Basak's been doing a lot of events for Maritime UK Week this week. So thank you so much for taking part in this event as well, Basak. And we also have Claire Edgecombe, who is Head of Sales, Marketing and Recruitment at MLA College. Welcome, Claire. You talk in terms of education and qualifications, please.
Absolutely. So I started my journey in 2014, having left school a number of years earlier with not very good GCSEs and qualifications, working in a supermarket for a number of years, and then thought, right, I've now decided what I want to do with my life. I want to go to sea. How do I do it? So I had a cadetship with Clyde Marine Training, which got me to a HNC, and that was all sponsored and paid for. But at the end of that, I kind of came off a bit of an escalator and had nothing to go to. So I wrote to different companies, I started getting my name out there, and the power of people actually meant quite a lot, using LinkedIn and various sources, and managed to get myself further sponsored to do a HND. That opened up a lot of doors in terms of jobs and stuff, because a lot of companies require the HND rather than HNC. So that opened a lot of doors in that respect. So from there, I waited a number of years, worked in a number of companies, which I'll probably mention a bit later, and moved to topping up my HND to a full Bachelor of Science with honours through MLA College. So I did that over a number of years, having finished last year and being awarded the BSc this year. And then since then, I've gone on to now do the graduate entry scheme for law with the Open University, which I started fairly recently.
Wow, which is a really quite an amazing career path there. And you've juggled that alongside working at sea as well. I know we mentioned that you're currently working for a cruise company, but you've worked on a number of different types of vessels and different types of trades. Can you explain some of that to us as well, please?
Yeah, so when I started my cadetship, that was with Northlink Ferries. So that was RoPax vessels going between, trading between Aberdeen, the Shetland Islands and the Orkney Islands. So it was a number of years doing that with fantastic weather, as you can imagine. After my cadetship, I then, like I said, came off the end of that escalator, was looking for options, did my HND. Immediately following my HND, the job I picked up and the first job I can get to there was working for Border Force Maritime Command. So I worked in a variety of roles there. I was a trained customs officer. I was also essentially, I was a deckhand on the vessels. having worked my way up over a few years to become third officer on those vessels as well. Mainly, whilst I was working at Border Force, that's when I started my degree with MLA College. That gave me the CV to be able to apply then for Carnival UK. And I believe that's the reason why I'm working for Carnival UK now, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, that's really interesting and a really varied start to your career. It's certainly a conversation that we hear a lot with that challenges once you finish your cadetship, getting that first job at sea. And you've clearly used your ability to get the HND to get there. And it sounds like you've had some amazing experiences since then, working in the Aegean with migrant rescue and also at UK Border Force. What prompted you to kind of explore the professional development in a more formal way?
So a lot of it, as I think when I did my HNC, a lot of it was realizing whilst doing my HNC that I can do it. I do have the ability to achieve because I was getting good grades. So that was automatically something I'd never experienced before, that if I apply myself, I can achieve. Secondly, it was also seeing that it's a competitive market being in maritime. And to stand out, you do need to put your head above the parapet a little bit more. So I thought, well, how do I do that? So it's making connections, joining organizations. That was one route. How else do I do that? It's getting better qualifications. And I knew I could achieve it. So let's see how far I could go is how I was setting myself. There's no limit. Let's see how close to the top I can get in terms of my qualifications and professional development that way. And that overall picture made me, I believe, more competitive, give me the better ability to stand out above other candidates and to get the job that I really wanted to get. So,
yeah, that sounds amazing. And I know separately that you're currently undertaking a law degree course at present. What was your pathway? How did you actually get to where you are now?
Okay, so a big part of that, when you get to port, you can get some signal, email your tutors, update them on where you're at, send over drafts, all this kind of stuff. The tutor support was really useful to have, alongside the support from the administration staff as well, always keeping in touch with me, seeing what modules I wanted to do next, when I wanted to do them. I had a different choice of modules to do. That allowed me, once I qualified with them, to apply for the graduate entry scheme for the law. So that misses the first year of law of a normal law degree. So I only have 2 years of a law degree to do. I'm doing that part-time because I work at sea. So therefore, that's going to take a little bit longer. It's a bit of a trial for me at the moment because there's no program out there for maritime professionals to do a kind of a law degree whilst you're at sea, and unfortunately MLA don't offer that service in law. So it's a bit of a trial to see how it goes. I haven't been to sea whilst having to achieve it yet. It doesn't quite offer the same flexibility that MLA does in terms of being a seafarer, but it's still Open University is still one of those which does offer flexibility. I'm just in a bit more of a unique situation being a seafarer, but yeah, I do get internet at sea, so hopefully it stays strong, so hopefully it works. So let's see how it goes.
Fingers crossed. Well, It sounds like there's an opportunity there for MLA and perhaps other colleges out there as well to step into that space. But can you tell us what degree you actually did there? It was the Sustainable Maritime Operations degree, was it? Why did you choose to do that?
That's right, Sustainable Maritime Operations. And the purpose of choosing that degree for me was because it offered a bit of everything that I already know. So having done nautical science in college, which is very mathematical and theoretical, a whole new experience to me, but one which has made things a lot better because it's another addition to my skills which I didn't have before. Yes, would you like me to elaborate? Okay.
No, that's absolutely fine. One thing you did say just a little bit earlier was you believe that that's really enabled you to get your job now with the large cruise operator, with Carnival Cruises. How so? Were they looking specifically for further education or further qualifications? How were those doors open for you?
So Carnival UK will accept anybody with a HND. So I already had the skills to apply for Carnival UK, but Carnival UK is very competitive. And I remember in the interview, they said to me something on the lines of, why didn't you apply for a cadetship with us? I said, well, I did apply for a cadetship with you, but I didn't have anything on my CV that would make you want me. So
Right.
what have I done now to make you want me? Well, I'm doing this Bachelor of Science in Sustainable Maritime Operations. It builds upon skills that I already have, and I've chosen additional modules. Law was one of them, which is where partly my interest in law came from. Law, maritime insurance, meteorology, all these things that I enjoy. These skills I can bring to you and your company, something that I couldn't have said before. So that would be the reason, and the answer to your question there, quite simply, is I did have the minimum requirement, but to be competitive, I believed it was better to go that extra mile.
Yeah, it showed that you were going above and beyond, and you had perhaps something that perhaps another candidate might not have had.
Exactly that, yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Well, thank you so much, Ross, for sharing that journey with us. I'm sure there'll be lots of questions coming in that we'll ask you a little bit more in detail, and I can see a few are coming in already. So if you are listening in, please do get those questions in the chat, and I will get them to our panelists at the end of our more formal question round. But if you don't mind, I'd like to come over to Basak now. Hi, Basak. You've clearly got loads of experience in professional development and maritime training. What do you see as the defining principles of MLA College that makes its approach to training perhaps slightly different to other colleges out there?
I think just like Ross said, MLA was originally from day one designed for seafarers. The very first degree MLA offered was for hydrographic engineers to do a master's degree while they were serving on board. So we call it learn whilst you earn. So many members of our senior management team, academic staff, they all have backgrounds in shipping industry. So we have the knowledge and experience of the industry. And I think it has helped us while we were designing the whole thing. In doing this, we put the working professionals at the heart. We do not have 18-year-old traditional students. We have helps the students plan when they study. And this flexibility enables them to fit their studies in around their full-time career, family commitments, and life commitments. And over the years, we have made so many interactions with our students and seafarers, that they've been telling us that, they weren't able to commit to gaining the qualifications they desire before. And in a normal university, I think you have like Economics 101 class. For us, every student is separate, and I think in no other university you would get one-to-one time as you do get with MLA College. So it is designed to develop on your own time. You never see an academic like me teaching. They're all specially developed. We have production team with the academics, and I think the best thing is that we do not only have academics, but we have people from the industry. I think industry-university collaboration makes MLA stand out.
Absolutely. I mean, a number of things there is absolutely chiming with what we hear from our members. Connectivity at sea, as we know, is still really hit and miss. So, having that ability to download coursework and work at your own time, your own pace offline is absolutely key for our members when they're working at sea. But also that one-on-one attention, that's one of the reasons why we set up the Sea to City mentoring scheme. It's so that members will have that individual relationship with a maritime professional so that they can get to know the opportunities ashore as well and how they can kind of position themselves for those opportunities. So yeah, I completely hear what you're saying there. So I mentioned the Sea to City mentoring scheme there and how it pairs shore-based maritime professionals with our members working at sea. How does MLA College support its students who are perhaps considering that move ashore?
The programs we offer help students to develop the knowledge and understanding around the operations of the maritime industry. So this is something that's important to anyone who is considering to move ashore, and having a qualification sets them up for success with this progression. So each student, every single student at MLA receives a dedicated personal tutor to help them achieve their educational goals. We also have a student forum and an alumni self-service so that students can be a part of a community, so they are not left alone. And so we give the peer support and guidance. I think the most important, the best part of MLA is I think we have a great team who has background in shipping, and we know how difficult it is to be working away from home, working on board of a vessel. And We are just there to make it happen, to support them when it's difficult, when it's not doable. And it's not the academic team that's great. I think it's the whole, at least as important, the whole support team we have around our students. Like I said, MLA is designed especially for maritime professionals.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I know Ross was advocating to that degree earlier. So thank you very much, Basak. Claire, if I might be able to come to you now. A question that we often get from our mentees on the Sea to City scheme is, what qualifications do they need to join a bachelor's degree course or other professional development? Is there any advice that you can give to our members listening today, perhaps on some of those pathways to learning?
Yeah, absolutely. To anybody thinking about their career progression, to have that plan in place. What is their ultimate goal? And then set out their pathway in how they need to achieve that. Because sometimes, you know, that plan could be years in the making. So I would really encourage people to sit down and consider what that looks like for them. And also, if they do decide that the qualifications are in their best interest, Ross also mentioned that actually that helps people raise the bar. So when there's a big competition for specific shore-based jobs, the qualification is what's going to set you apart from everybody else. So with regards to qualifications and eligibility, so traditionally, from a qualifications route to enter into our bachelor program, so this is the program that Ross had studied, we would be looking for a UK foundation degree or higher national diploma, so that's the HND, in a maritime related subject. Or for international students, that would be the UK equivalent of those qualifications. So we do encourage, I mean, a lot of our student base are international, and we would be looking at their qualifications and converting them into the UK equivalency. So the bachelor's degree in sustainable maritime operations that we provide is a bachelor top-up, which means it is the final year of a full bachelor's degree. And that is why we're looking at somebody to have the foundation degree or the HND prior to accessing our program. And for international students, we would also be asking them for the English language competency as well. So that is, for example, an IELTS examination. But anybody that doesn't hold those qualifications, we still encourage them to speak to us, as there are other routes that we can look at for them to access the program in the same topic. So anybody that already has a bachelor's degree can opt for the master's program. So that is the traditional route, if you like. But like I mentioned, there are other options available to people as well.
Yeah, and I suspect you might be able to answer the next question that I'm going to ask you now, because one of the other things that our members often ask is, can their work experience, their time on board the ship, will that assist them towards their professional development journey? Will it assist them to get into any of your programs?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So a lot of seafarers think that they can't gain the qualification because they have no higher education qualifications already. So we do review their work experience to see whether it would be the equivalent of already having that foundation degree or higher national diploma. And we also take certificate of competency licenses as that proof of level of work. So, for example, anybody holding a third officer or a third engineer or even an officer of the watch license, they would be automatically eligible for the bachelor's program. If they've got a master mariner or chief mate or second engineer certificate, then that brings them up to the master's level. In some cases where a certificate of competency hasn't been achieved yet, we will look at their CV and have a look at what they have got in regards to experience within their time within the maritime industry. And that is also taken into account. And whereby we feel that maybe the access to the program's quite a leap, because you do need to have that academic writing ability. We do have the access course. So it's called SMOAC. So that's the access course in Sustainable Maritime Operations. And that is, it's a short 8-week program. And it provides an introduction to the subject, but it also provides that introduction to distance learning, how that works, and also the academic writing side. So they can use it. And if anybody has any specific questions about their certain circumstances, even if you think, oh, no, I'm not going to meet the eligibility criteria, I would encourage you to contact our admissions team, and they'll be able to advise you. And if you don't meet the criteria, then they would be able to advise on what the pathway and the route is for you. And you can contact them by emailing info@mla.ac.uk.
That's great. Well, thank you very much, Claire. It sounds like there's lots of options there. And if you are a seafarer who might not already have some of those more formal qualifications, it sounds like you should get in contact with MLA anyway, because they may be able to assist you in another pathway to learning. So thank you very much for that, Claire. That was really, really interesting. As I said, we do have lots of questions coming in, so I'm going to try and get as many of those as possible to our panelists within time. So the first one that came in was from James Matheson. And James, I'm going to have to paraphrase. It's quite a long one here, but you're saying that you seem to find a lot more courses that are tailored towards deck officers and not necessarily for engineer officers, particularly when you're talking about further education and university degrees. Is this something that MLA can assist with?
It depends on whether it's a specific marine engineering qualification that they are looking for.
Okay.
At the moment, we do a master's top-up for marine engineering professionals, which is very high level. So that would be tailored to chief engineers, superintendents, first engineers. At the moment, there is, it could be something that we develop in the future, because we do realise that the demand is there, and that that programme, for example, isn't accessible for the maritime industry from other institutions. So at the moment, no, we don't offer it at a lower level, but it is something that we would consider developing in the future.
That's great. Okay, thank you, Claire. And I think this next question is probably going to go to Ross. Colin Lamb is asking how to do the exam for the law degree while you're on the ship.
So there is no exam for the law degree under the system that they currently have. It's a series of, very much like MLA as well, it's a series of end of module assessments. So you'll be given a question to go away and look at and find sources, academic materials, read papers, and then write an essay based on that question, and then you submit that as a end of module assessment. Very much the same as what MLA offers. So although I haven't submitted my first one yet, it's the same kind of pathway. If there were physical exams, I wouldn't be able to do the route I'm doing now, because I'd be away, quite frankly.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Another question for you, Ross, and I'm going to apologise in advance if I don't pronounce your name right, but from Elif Dila Alkshish. He has done a very similar pathway to you, Ross. He has just finished a law degree, and he has also done the same course at MLA College. And his question is, he'd like to work in the UK on completion of the degree, and he wants to know, what did MLA College degree bring you in terms of your business life? So your kind of professional connections. Did you see the benefits of this degree in terms of your business life?
Absolutely. So I saw that question when it came up and thought I'd love to talk about this, actually. So I'm glad you asked it. And cool. In terms of business life, right. So what did the Sustainable Maritime Operations degree give me in terms of knowledge and future progression? Well, I did a module on, like I said, law, P&I, insurance. So I can go to a P&I club with an Officer of the Watch license and say, oh yeah, I've done a little bit of that as part of my Officer of the Watch. Or I can go to this P&I club haven't done this degree and say, hey, look, guys, I've done a module and written a whole paper on what a P&I club is. So I'm very aware of what job I'm trying to get into or trying to be part of. Another example is P&L accounts. If anyone's heard of a profit and loss before, it's what businesses study to see their bottom line, how much money they've made, where their operating profits are, et cetera, et cetera. I wouldn't have known anything about that if I didn't do my degree with MLA, because that was part of one of the core modules. Is it's not just about maritime, it's about what is the bigger picture. What would you need to know to get into business within the maritime community? A P&L, if you work at a shipping company, is probably quite important. So in terms of that, it's given me a lot more business knowledge so that I can go into a company shoreside, even my own company, and say, look, I've got evidence that I've studied the job I'm trying to go for here. Whereas if I had just my officer watch license and sea time, my evidence would be a bit more limited. Doesn't mean I couldn't do the job, it would just be a bit more limited.
Yeah, it sounds like you've got a much broader knowledge base now, having done that degree, than what you had previously. Totally.
Yeah. Completely expanded my horizons on different elements of life and business and maritime, all combined into one, really.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. I would like to ask a question now from Alan Dixon, who is a Nautilus member. Hi, Alan. Nice to hear from you. His question is, MLA has a number of MSc top-up courses, but only seems to have sustainable maritime ops as under and postgrad. Is there any plans to do these for the other MSc subjects?
Do you want that one, Basak, or shall I answer that one?
Go ahead, please, with my voice.
Thank you, Claire.
We have recently launched another undergraduate program in sustainability. So that's for global sustainable development. That one's not specific to the maritime industry. It's across all industries, and it focuses on sustainability, the UN Sustainable Development Goals. With regards to the current master top-up programs, so I did mention just a while ago that potentially we might be looking at doing some postgraduate qualification in marine engineering. There's not currently any plans to offer full programs in any of the other subjects. However, we are a college that listens to people. So, you know, if there is a demand, we would welcome people to contact us to say, you know, they're looking for this kind of program, and then that would be something that we would consider. However, I would mention that with our qualifications, they are awarded by the University of Plymouth. So the process of designing a new program and getting it validated is you know, it's a long process. So it would take a year or more to get that validated. But yeah, if anyone's got any suggestions on programs they think, you know, that there's the demand for, then please do get in touch with us.
Great, thank you very much. And apologies if there was any background noise as Claire was speaking there. I know it can sometimes be hard to hear when that's going on. So hopefully everybody could hear Claire's answer nice and clear. Now, just to let you all know, we have come up against our 30 minutes, but I'm going to take an extra few minutes to answer some more questions. I know there's a few more coming in. If you can't stay with us, don't worry. The whole session will be recorded and you will get an email with the recording afterwards, so you can catch up on the Q&A session, and we will try and answer any that we don't get to via email or via our website as well after the event. So I've got a question from David Smith. He's asking some very specific questions here around cost to MLA College. So how much does the Sustainable Maritime Operations degree cost, and other MSc qualifications? I guess he's probably also interested in support and, you know, perhaps some financial support that seafarers might be able to access for those courses.
Okay, well, there's a file attached to this webinar, which is the program brochure for the SMO program. I would recommend downloading that. That does contain information about the fees, the tuition fees. There are also a couple of offers attached to the webinar, one of which is a Women in Maritime bursary. So we do aim to try and make the education accessible across the board, So there is that bursary available for women. There are also other funding options. So throughout the year, we do have bursaries or scholarships available. So to keep abreast of any of that information, I would advise to subscribe to the MLA newsletter. Therefore, you'll be able to get up-to-date information about any funding that is available.
Yeah, that's really useful. Thank you very much. And if anybody's looking for those files, you can see them in the offers tab there, which is probably on the left-hand side of your chat box there. So please do take a look. So another question about some courses that may be available at MLA College is, sorry, I've just lost it a little bit. I'm going to go back up to it. It's from Vivian Mason. Vivian's asking, does MLA offer a Cat B course in hydrography? That's a hard one for me to pronounce, online. She's asking about the practical aspects because she'd like to do those in person. Is that possible?
We do offer the hydrography in the master's top-up. We do have existing students that are studying the PG DIP. However, the content of that programme, which does contain practical elements, is under review at the moment. So we're very precious of making sure that the information within our programmes is up to date and relevant. So until that is the case, unfortunately, we're unable to offer that programme only at the master top-up level, which is a research project only.
Well, that sounds very interesting in itself. So as with all of these courses, please do look at the MLA website if you're interested in further information. But I'm really sorry, everybody, we're going to have to wrap it up here because we are definitely over our allocation for the webinar today. If you are a member of Nautilus International and you do want to register for the Sea to City mentoring program, please do check out our website. And as I said, if you are a seafarer who's interested in professional development, you can find out more about MLA courses on their website or by looking at the offers tab here in the webinar. As you've heard, they provide online and distance learning courses, and it is a very supportive environment for its students, no matter where they are, whether you're at sea or whether you are ashore. So thank you to all our speakers today. Thank you to Ross, thank you to Basak, and thank you to Claire. I think our audience will agree that that was a very useful, a very interesting event, and I wish you all the very best in your professional development. And goodbye and good luck.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Helen.
everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.